Okay guys, so here in this session I'm going to start a new topic called project phase. It is also called ASAP methodology. If you guys are able to remind the previous class, there I have explained like in SAP you will be having four different kind of activities, that is called four different types of project. So what are those? Implementation, rollout, support and upgrade. So now what is happening in implementation, we have to perform all 100% activities, whereas in rollout only 70% to 60% to 70% of the activity need to be performed. In upgrade also very limited activities belongs to functional consultant, means you people, and in support also similar kind of thing will be there. So I will cover implementation project. It means if we cover A to Z, then everything comes under that. It means if we cover 100%, then everything will be coming under that. If you're having proper knowledge of implementation project, you can be able to work for rollout also. You can be able to work for upgrade also, and you can be able to work for support also, because implementation consists of A to Z topic. Okay, so now I'll just I'll here just assume that we guys are going to do implementation for Tata Motor. There is a company, this could be anything. I'm just giving you example that this company name is Tata Motor. Tata Motor is not having SAP in their organization, so they are going to invite somebody, Wipro or Infosys or IBM, for this implementations and all, that you come and implement this SAP in our organizations. So you guys has to do this implementations, in the sense keep yourself at the place of consultant. So okay, so prior to this I have also explained how the projects are coming to any organization, what is happening, like how the project is coming to any organization, in the sense like what is the activity performed by this survey team. They will conduct some survey in the market, then after this messages are going to be passed on to the sales and marketing people, and these people will give a very big presentation to the client. They'll try to convince, they'll try to change their mindset and all, and after some time they will succeed, and based on that the client is going to decide that okay, we have to go for, or we are supposed to go for SAP. So once they decide that we are going for this SAP and all, then what will happen, they have to invite certain IT companies, those who can implement this SAP in their organization. So what will happen now, if they have to invite any IT company, then they are going to lots of formalities will be there. Like they are going to invite, first of all they'll invite quotations. After that, once the quotation is finalized, then that particular IT company is going to raise this Tata Motor is going to raise a purchase order, PO. Then the PO will be accepted, and then further the company is going to send a team of people. They'll be having certain face-to-face discussions where they are going to agree upon the all terms and conditions, and then finally the project will be finalized and some token amount will be released by the company. But if you talk about these all activity here, your involvement is not there at all. You guys are not going to involve. It means junior consultant, associate consultant or senior consultants are not involved here. Here like higher or superior most people are involved from this uh, Wipro or Infosys or IBM, whichever companies receive these projects. So that company's higher level people, in the sense higher level management people, and from Tata Motor also their management team will be involving in these all discussions and all. So this is how the project is finalized, and once the project is finalized, then what will happen? Uh, let's suppose this project came to Wipro Technology itself. So Wipro Technology is going to hand it over this project to a delivery head, or what to say, journal head, automatically it comes to the journal head because that project belongs to a particular zone. Now journal head is going to appoint a project manager for that project, and once the project manager is appointed, then what will happen? Then project manager will visit project manager will visit a client place. Client place means, like I said, like Tata Motors. So Tata Motors, let's suppose, is having certain, they're having some corporate office somewhere, or they'll be having campuses somewhere. So that project manager is going to visit the client place. Now, so what is happening? If you talk about this implementation, then entire implementation project is going to be segregated in 5 phases. Entire implementation project is going to be segregated in 5 phases. That is called project phase, or it is also called ASAP methodology. Okay, ASAP methodology is called accelerated SAP methodology. Okay, and guys, you also know very well that why we have segregated this project in 5 phases, why SAP has prepared. And one more thing, these 5 phases are standard. Okay, it's not customized. What is the difference between standard and customized, guys? Standard will be, there won't be any changes in this. Customized can be, it means we can change as per our need. So standard means this will be always 5 phases only. It cannot be 4, it cannot be 6, or else it cannot be 3, it cannot be 7. Okay, it will be always 5. This is given by SAP. We must have to, while implementing the project, we must have to stick to this 5 phases only. Okay, and it is called ASAP methodology. If somebody asks project phases, you have to explain the same. If somebody asks what do you mean by ASAP methodology, you have to explain the same thing, which I am going to explain, which I am going to start right now. So accelerated SAP methodology, it means it's a methodology which is given by SAP to accelerate the speed of project. Because we know very well, let's suppose certain building construction is going on, or a building construction, okay, a building constructions, let's suppose there is a task or activity that 120 storage or 30 storage building need to be constructed. So first of all, this project is going to assign to a particular engineer. Now the engineer is going to segregate these all constructions in certain phases. Like in first phase, the layout is going to be prepared. That is called buildings. Blueprint will be prepared. Then in second phase, foundation will take place. In third phase, all the pillars, that is pillarings, will be taking place. In fourth phase, like wall constructions will be taking place. In fifth phase, doors and window installation will take place. In sixth phase might be this coloring, and then other decorations, whatever this electricity works is there, those things are going to take place. And at final phase, inauguration will take place. Inauguration means building is ready to be occupied by people. So why they have segregated these all activity in different phases? Because for every phase they are going to, or for every phase, the whoever this building engineer is there is going to decide, or is going to keep certain deadline, that the first phase must be completed in 1 month. So 1 month means might be 2 days, 4 days, ups and down, that is manageable. So if they keep certain deadline for every phase, this is how they are going to calculate, okay, this much time, it's going to take 2 years completely to construct this building. And based on these all phases, they have decided all this deadline, and they're going to calculate all the timings and all. And they decided, okay, in 2 years, we can hand over the ownership of these flats or buildings to the customers. Okay. So this is why, in order to complete the activity on time, most likely people are going to segregate their particular work in certain phases and all, and they are going to proceed with that. So one by one, step by step, they'll perform, they'll work out on all these phases and all, and they'll achieve their target within the specified deadline. So this is the major reason that SAP has also segregated this entire implementation project in 5 phases, and the 5 phases are already there on your screen. This is project preparation, business blueprint, realization, final preparation, and then finally go live and support. So guys, just now I said, like, at final stage what will happen, building inauguration will take place. It means buildings will be ready to, occupied by people, in the sense people will come and they'll start staying in that building. Likewise, here in go live support means now SAP is ready to be used by Tata Motor employee. Okay, so I'm going to give a very simple explanation, like what is happening in this all phases, what activities are going to be performed by a consultant in this all phases. It's going to be very easy, nothing, it's not much difficult and all. But it is very important in terms of, or in, you can say, interview point of view, because people raise lots of questions from this project phases, or so-called ASAP methodology. And what I have observed, like 95% of the people are not confident at all while replying the questions. Okay, so I'll just explain one by one all those things, and just listen this. And wherever you guys are having any question, you can just ask your question, or else you can type your questions here in chat box. At the end of the session, I'll look at this all these questions and all, and then one by one I'll reply your queries. Whatever the queries are there, I'll clarify. Okay. So in order to make this session more interactive, better to ask some questions so that I'll also come to know, like, okay, you guys are active listener and you're participating in these classes. So anyway, so now we are going to start this project phase, and we'll start from the first phase, that is called project preparation. Here also, now, so ASAP methodology or project phase. So what is this ASAP methodology? It's an implementation methodology which is divided into 5 phases. It is called ASAP methodology, or ASAP roadmap methodology also called. Guys, ASAP roadmap methodology also it is called. It's just like, if you look at here, see the picture. It's just like, see here, there is a diagram of a road. If you look at the maps and all, these kind of diagrams will be there. These kind of, if you look at some map and all, in that the roads will be, uh, whatever the roads are there or railways tracks are there, that is going to be shown like this. So why this diagram has been given, or why it is called ASAP roadmap methodology, or accelerated SAP methodology, or ASAP methodology? Because it is going to accelerate the speed of this implementations. And here what is happening, our final destination is this one, the 5th phase, go live and support. But you can reach at this destination via different stoppage are there, isn't it? Different, like, let's suppose this is Mumbai and this is Delhi. So if you have to travel from Mumbai to Delhi, in between lots of stoppages are coming, like Nagpur will be coming, let's suppose Agra will be coming, say for example some different, Jaipur is coming, and then finally let's suppose we are going to reach Delhi, or else like from Mumbai Nagpur is there, then Jaipur is there, then Agra is there, then we are going to reach Delhi. So this is how we are having different phases are coming. So we have to go through all these phases, and then finally we are going to achieve, and we are going to reach at our final destination, that is go live and support. So what activities are we going to perform in each phases? Now I'll explain. So Here all the phases once again I have written. Now we'll start from project preparation. So guys, yesterday in the previous class I said like project is handed over to a project manager. So we'll start from here. Project is handed over to a project manager and the project manager reaches at client location. So now, as I said, whenever any project is being given to any company or whenever any project is being assigned to any company, then the client is your Tata Motor. So the client is going to give you certain deadline also. It's not like that simply they have handed over the project and they will not give any deadline. If they won't give any deadline, then we guys are extremely fond of sleeping and like in the sense like if there's not only we, anybody, if there is no any deadline, then the work speed will not be much. It will very slow. We can deliver in 1 year also. It can be in 1.5 year also and 2 year also. So the client will say that the deadline is 8 months. The deadline is 8 months, or at any cost the next year 1st of April supposed to be go live date. In the sense from 1st of April onwards, our Tata Motor employee supposed to use SAP instead of Tally. Let's suppose as of now they are maintaining all their activities by means of or with the help of a small ERP called Tally. So now they are planning to go for SAP, so they will invite this IT companies and they have handed over this project to Wipro Technology. So now once the project came to Wipro Technology and Wipro Technology has already assigned a project manager, client has also given a deadline that within 8 months this project must be completed. So the next question is, what about this deadline? When it is going to start? When the countdown will begin? Because 8 months they have said, but when the countdown is going to begin, when the deadline is going to start? So the answer is, once the project manager reaches at client location, client is going to start their countdown. In the sense, countdown will begin, the deadline will start exactly from there. Once the project manager reaches at client location, the countdown will begin. So here project is assigned to a project manager in the sense like Wipro Technology has assigned this project to a project manager, and then project manager reaches at client location. Now the countdown is begin, in the sense like it started, deadline started. So the first of all, project manager is going to segregate this entire project in 5 phases. As I said, this is the standard phase, cannot be more, cannot be less. So once the project manager reaches at client location, then he is, the first what activity is going to perform. The countdown begin. So in first stage, in the first phase, what activities are going to take place? It's already there on your screen. Look at here. The first thing is going to decide team size and team member. So team size and team member, because project manager is just a leader and they cannot perform the ground level activities. Okay, and one guy alone cannot complete this entire project and cannot do all the configurations, because in SAP several modules are there and each and every module is like there are huge number of activities need to be performed in each and every module. So one guy can be, you can be expert of only one thing, you can't be expert of each and everything. So project manager might be a senior SD consultant or senior FI consultant or senior consultant, and later on due to promotions and all that person become project manager. So he can be expert of only one module, right? But even most likely project managers are not going to, they're just like a leader. So they will involve in lots of different activities in order to interact with the client. If there is any delay in any sort of response from client side, then project manager is there. We are going to escalate this matter to being a consultant, we have to escalate this matter to project manager. Project manager is going to escalate this matter to somebody who is like, somebody will be appointed even from client side also. So they'll be also, that guy is also a kind of project manager itself, but from client side. Okay. So that guy also is going to observe the progress. They will be also checking the progress reports and all. So our project manager, in the sense Wipro Technology project manager, is going to escalate this issues to, or Wipro Technology project manager is going to discuss with the project manager of Tata Motor, who is appointed for this particular project. So this is how these kind of activities will be performed by project manager. Now, so guys, here once, okay, so what is happening in first phase, guys? First phase, project manager is going to decide the team size and team member. It means, first of all, how many people required? 25, 30, 35, 40. It depends upon the size of the organizations. Okay. So here, let's suppose project manager decided that I need 30 people. In the sense, I need 30 consultant. Okay. Now again, the next thing is like, in 30 consultant, how many senior consultant will be there? How many junior consultant will be there? These all decision will be taken by project manager. And then, so team size, he has decided about like around 30 member. Then who these all 30 members are? Who these all 30 members are? So one by one, he has to decide the faces also. Face in the sense, where is this 30 faces? So first of all, project manager is going to invite candidates internally in the sense, in every organization there will be some people who is not having any project in their hand, like they are not having any activity to perform. So what will happen? Project manager is going to invite those kind of people who is not having any activities. Those kind of people, in the sense, it's not like that everybody, whoever the SAP consultants are there, and if those people are not having any activity to perform right now, they are not having any project in their hand. So what will happen? Project manager is going to invite those kind of people that I am having an opportunity. Location is XYZ. If you are interested, come down, and the nature of this project is implementations. All these things will be explained by project manager, and then he has to he'll conduct certain interview also. It will be internal interview itself for the sake of formalities and all. And then after, he'll invite the candidates. So let's suppose, out of 30, 27 people got arranged inside of within the organization itself. Now remaining 3 people can be taken from external sources. Like, then we'll have to go for external recruitment. Resume will be invited from Naukri, Monster, Times, isn't it? And based on that, project manager will take certain interviews and all, and then he is going to finalize remaining 3 candidates. So the first activity is team size and team member. So he decided 30 member, and all those 30 members also. Now who these all people are, that is already fixed. So one by one, people will start coming at client location. Okay, so once one by one, people will start coming to join this implementation team. Now second activity is project planning. As I said, like, project planning means what planning? The planning about this project, how this implementation is going to be successful. So phases are already divided, 5 phases, but what would be the deadline for each and every phases will be decided by project manager. So such kind of planning will be also required. Okay, and the last activity is kick-off meeting. So guys, what is this kickoff meeting? Kickoff meeting is nothing but internal meeting, because let's suppose within 10 days or 12 days, everybody reached at client location. So out of 30, around 27, 28, 29, or all 30 members reached at client location. Then one internal meeting will be conducted. It is nothing but a kind of introductory meeting, in the sense like some introduction will take place. Everybody will come, they will introduce themselves that, hi guys, this is XYZ, I'm from so and so location, I'm having, you know, 5 years of experience in SAP so and so module. So I'm going to be your colleague in the form of like consultant or SD consultant, so that everybody will come to know who is consultant, who is SD consultant, who is FI consultant, who is controlling CO consultant. Because once we know each other, then, because as I said, like here SAP all modules are integrated, linked with each other. So sometime you need to coordinate with some different module consultant, sometime somebody need to coordinate with you likewise, and activities will be there. So in first phases, what is happening, project manager is going to decide the team size and team member. Then project planning, certain deadline he has to decide it for, for each and every phases. And then finally kickoff meeting means internal meeting, where everybody are going to explain, everybody are going to introduce themselves. And at last project manager also will come, and project manager is going to introduce himself, and then finally one small speech will be given by him. Project manager is going to explain like what is the nature of this project, what is the purpose behind gathering of these all people, what is the expectation. Generally gathering, purpose of gathering, everybody knows that, but now project manager is going to explain all these things in details. What kind of business the client is having, and what is the deadline given by client, what is the client expectation, right? So these all things will be explained by project manager. And if he has prepared certain rule, like consultants, sometimes project manager says that, guys, if you're having any concern, don't hide, you just share, because your mind supposed to be free to implement this project successfully. So even if you have any personal issues also, you can treat me your friend and you can discuss, so that I'll try to find out the solution. So such kind of, to gain some sympathies, or some kind of, to create a kind of good image, because like you guys know very well that what kind of images will be there of managers among the employees. So in order to break those kind of image, certain project managers are there who come little bit forward, and they'll say that, guys, I'm just like your friend. So if you're having any issues or personal concerns also, you can share, so that I can try to find out certain solutions and all, and there won't be any impact on this. So there should not be any impact of your personal issues on these projects, and with your professional works, like certain explanations. So these kind of formal or informal conversation also will be there in this internal meeting, kickoff meeting. Okay, internal meeting doesn't mean that only the Wipro consultant only will be participated. Even from client side also, if somebody might come, they can sit, they can see this, all this, things at all. So it's okay. So these things are happening in the first phase. Very limited activities are there in first phase. Once the kickoff meeting is completed, then we are going to enter into second phase. Once the internal meeting is done, internal meeting is nothing but kickoff meeting. So once the kickoff meeting is done, then we are going to enter into second phase. So what activities are going to happen in second phase, guys? Here in second phase, what will happen? In second phase, now the discussion is going to happen with the client. Okay, till now in first phase, whichever interaction has happened, this is internal interaction among the consultant along with project manager. But right now, what is happening? Right now, our all these discussions are over. So we have finished the first phase. Now we have entered in second phase. So in second phase, what will happen? Now the consultants has to discuss with the client to understand their business process, to understand their particular module process. Like let's suppose you guys are going to be a FI consultant, finance consultant. So what will happen? whom you are going to interact with? You guys are going to interact with the finance and accounting. It means you need to understand the process of whatever the processes are there, which is there in finance and accounting. So you need to understand those processes, and based on that we have to map those processes in SAP also. So that is why we need to have a kind of certain discussions will be taking place with the client. Now I'll tell you guys, let's suppose in Tata Motor, as I said, like you have to discuss with the finance and account team. Likewise, SD module consultant is going to discuss with the sales and marketing team or sales and marketing department. HR module consultant is going to discuss with the HR department. Okay, so we'll just talk about finance itself because you guys are going to be finance consultants. So we'll talk about finance module, FI module. So being FI consultant, what will happen? You guys are going to discuss with the finance and account team. Now let's suppose it's a very huge company. So if the finance and account team is having 100 or 150 or like 150 employees, let's suppose finance and account team is having 100 employee. So now discussion doesn't mean that you guys are going to discuss with all 100 people. Okay. So for that, what will happen? Generally, Tata Motor is going to designate one a representative for that particular department. So for every department, one representative will be designated from Tata Motor. What is the use of that representative? That representative is a kind of, like your contact person. The kind, representative is the front face of that particular department. It means whenever we have any issues, whenever we have any doubt, whenever we have being a consultant, whenever we have any queries, what will happen? Instead of asking everybody one by one, we are going to contact that person, that representative of this finance and account department will ask our query from that person, and those guys are most likely the senior people only. Those guys are all senior people only. So we'll ask this questions from that, the representative of that particular department, and this guy is going to resolve your query. This guy is going to answer your question, and even if he doesn't know, then he knows the respective person who can answer your question. So he is going to arrange a meeting with that guys. So this is the use of representative, in the sense like if you have any queries, we cannot, if we are having any query, we cannot ask, what to say this to everybody. Simply we are going to ask whoever the spokesperson or whoever the contact person is there. So this contact person or this representative is called CTM, core team member. Guys, this contact person is called CTM. Okay. So CTM means, I'll just, okay, we are going to, let's suppose, as I said, we are going to implement this project for Tata Motor. So now what will happen here? Okay, so now what will happen here for this, let's suppose the Tata Motor has designated one, what to say, representative for every for every department. So those representatives are called CTM, that is called core team member. So whenever we have any queries, whenever we have any questions, whenever we have any issues, then what will happen? We are going to contact the CTM. We will be having interaction with the CTM. So during blueprint phase, what is happening? If we have to know the total processes, like how many processes are there right now which is being performed, or how many activities are being performed by Tata Motor account and finance team. So how we will come to know? We need to discuss with the core team member, and the core team member is going to explain all those things, that we are having different kind of activities. We perform like we so X activity, Y activity, Z activity. Okay, so lots of activities they'll say. And of course, once we start the practical session, we'll cover what exactly they are doing, and then how to configure these all things, how to map those all things in SAP. So that will be started. So now here we need to discuss with the CTM. So look at here, as I said, like what is happening in business blueprint. So in this phase, consultant will have a discussion with their respective core team member. Look at here, with their respective core team member. Core team member is the representative of a particular department regarding business process, and will record the entire requirement in a document called blueprint. Okay, so what will happen, whichever requirements are there, those requirements we have to gather whatever the current processes, which is running processes are there, that we need to gather, and we need to note it down. Need to note it down. Why we need to note it down? Because we cannot collect all those requirement in your mind, so we have to note it down, we have to document it, so that later also we will be able to remind. But guys, the real story is not like directly we are going to prepare blueprint. Okay, before blueprint also certain stories are there. So those are the informal things, in the sense like before blueprint, what will happen? Before blueprint, there are two more documents which is being prepared, that is called as and to be. We are having two more documents, that is as and to be. So what is this as and what is to be? So guys, as is nothing but like whenever we are having interaction with core team member, then we just tell them that you do one thing: list down all of your processes, list down all of the activities which you are performing in Tata Motor. So let's suppose they have listed down. So what will happen? They will list down all this. Let's suppose they'll prepare an Excel sheet, and they are going to list down all the processes or all the activities which they are going to perform for Tata Motor. So they are saying like we are having, this is like activity, we perform 10 activity, and based on those we fetch 25 or 20 different kind of reports. Okay, this is the details given by client. They'll prepare an Excel sheet, and they are going to list out all the activity which they are performing. So they said like 10 activity we are going to perform, or we are performing as of now, and based on that 20 reports we can give. So this is called as document. As means at present which is running. Okay, what is the current status of their business process? What is the current status of their business process? In the sense, at present, what activities they are going to perform, how many activities they are going to perform, they will list down, they will send it to us, in the sense to consultant. So that is called as document. As means which is running currently. What is the current status? The current status of business process. So which is why the same document, it is called either as document, or even it is called CSBP also. So guys, do not be confused. If somebody asks what do you mean by CSBP, CSBP is nothing but your as is itself. Either you can say CSBP or you can say as is. Okay, if you talk about our country, if you go in foreign, people says India, it is called Bharat, it is called Hindustan. So the meaning is same. Likewise, As is nothing but CSBP. If you talk about the definition, as I said, like current status of business process. CSBP stand for current status of business process. So the client is going to list down all the processes, all the activity which they are performing, and they will send it to us. So now based on this as is document, we have to analyze like how many things can be deliverable, in the sense how much we can deliver to client on SAP. So we says like we can deliver only 9 activity. Out of 10, the 9 can be mapped in SAP very easily, and whichever 10th one is there, for that cannot be delivered through a standard configuration. Now guys, what is this configurations and all? That you guys will come to know once I start the practical session. You guys are going to be very much familiar with this, because lots of configurations we are going to do, and in the simplest way I'll explain the logic, what we are going to do and how we are going to do. So now here, based on the as-is document, we have received the list. Based on that, we are also going to prepare a list. And we says to the client that we can deliver only 9 activity, but based on that, you can fetch 100 types of report. So look at the increment, or the percentage growth in terms of this reports and all. It's almost 500%, 5 times bigger, isn't it? So SAP is going to give you several kind of reports. Several kind of reports will be given by SAP. So we said like out of 10 we can deliver you 9 through a standard configuration, and based on that 100 kind of reports can be fetched. Now whichever 10th process is there, whichever 10th activity is there, that can be also deliver, but for that we have to make certain extra effort, and we'll have to go for development. What is this development, guys? That I'll explain in the next to next session. There will be some topics are going to come. Types of document will be a topic. In that I'll explain what is this development or customization. So here, as I said, like through a standard configuration only, we can deliver you the 9 processes can be delivered, and whichever 10th is there, for that also can be delivered, but then that can be delivered through development. So that is going to cost you extra, in the sense whichever the project amount has been finalized, apart from those amount they have to pay some extra amount, guys. So see here, our terms and conditions started here. Okay, as you guys know, everywhere certain terms and conditions, if you go to any what to say, if you're going to sign any deal, then certain terms and conditions will be there. So here the terms and conditions started. So people will say that you have to pay extra if any development related activities are there. If it is a big development, for a small development, it's people are not going to charge any extra amount. And what is this development activity? That will be explained in the once I explain the next topic called types of document. There I'll explain. So these things have been. So to be means in future what we are going to deliver. As is means at present how many processes they are having. To be means in future how many we can deliver. So as is nothing but current status of this business process, and to be will be future status of business process, that is called FSBP. So just now I says like as is and CSBP both is same. Likewise 2B and FSBP both are same. 2B is nothing but future status of business process, means in future this much can be delivered to the client. Now whichever, see, there is a difference of one process. There is a difference of one process. So what will happen? Now what is happening, then once this is informal document and this is informal discussion, guys, so what will happen once it is done, then we are going to prepare a final document. We are going to prepare a final document. This is called blueprint. Okay, we are going to prepare a final document. This final document is called blueprint document. Okay, so in blueprint we are going to specify all the deliverables, in the sense whichever we have promised to deliver to the client, those things we are going to list out, where we are going to list out, where we are going to specify. We are going to specify in blueprint, in the sense we'll prepare a Word document. That document is called the final, this is called final document, and that is called blueprint document. So guys, all the deliverables will be specify here in blueprint. Apart from this, whatever this differences is there, that also we are going to specify in blueprint itself, but where? Under gap. This is your gap, in the sense whatever differences are there, this is your gap. It means whichever thing we have specified under gap, it means this cannot be delivered because this functionality is not available in SAP through standard configuration. Okay, so that we are going to specify under gap. Now, so what will happen once this informal documents has been prepared, once we had all the negotiation and discussion with the client, then whichever our final outcome, whatever the final result is there, whichever the final agreement or final outcome is there, those things we are going to specify in blueprint. So in blueprint we are going to specify all the deliverables we are going to specify, in the sense whatever we are going to deliver to the client, and non-deliverables we are going to specify under gap list. That also will be there in the blueprint itself. And then later on client will decide whatever things we have specified under gap, those things client want those things or not. At the end moment of the project they will let you know, or in between also they'll discuss in their internal, internally they'll have meeting and they'll discuss, and then they'll let us know whether they want these things or not. So okay, so now here what is happening, the final document got prepared, and this is called blueprint. So guys, how to prepare blueprint? Once again the question will be there, how the blueprint looks like. I'll tell you guys, every organization there are certain templates. If you have to prepare, first thing, like being a junior consultant, this is not your activity to prepare blueprint, but still when you talk about blueprint preparations, then already companies will be having template. It means certain of, what to say, already prepared blueprint will be there on the shared folder, so you'll be having access. Just what will happen, people will copy. And if you talk about the processes, so standard processes, like if we are going to do this implementation for India, then almost every companies are going to follow some standard processes are there. Everybody, everywhere the same similar processes will be there. So what will happen, your senior consultant will say, you do one thing, change this blueprint in the sense, just edit. Edit means change the name of the project. Let's suppose if you are going to do this implementation for Tata Motor, then this project will get certain name. Okay, like project XYZ. So we are going to change the name of the project, logo of the client logo, then whichever the consultants name are there, those can be changed. Project manager from client side, project manager from Wipro Technology, these all things will be changed. Date also will be changed. Certain formatting required, isn't it? These things will be changed. Certain processes, if we find, like if you're having doubt whether this process is there in this client or for this client or not, we are going to remove this. So this is how easily people are going to edit the blueprint. And once it is done, then you have to send it to your senior consultant for supervisor. Senior consultant, most likely they will have a very brief look on this, and then they will say that send it to the client. In the sense, client in the sense, we are going to send it to the core team member, CTM. Okay, Now core team member is going to have a look. The core team member is going to have a look on this blueprint, and then core team member will say whether it is acceptable or rejectable. Let's suppose, I'll just do one thing guys. Let's suppose we have prepared a blueprint and we have given a name like company name underscore which document underscore which module, and then version also v 1.0. So let's suppose this is the name of the document which we have sent to the client. Client says not okay. Okay, it means client says not acceptable. Okay, client says no. It means still they want certain modification. What modification they want? They'll specify on the mail itself, and sometimes they will what to say, color the text, that you need to replace this all yellow color text or red color text. These kind of instructions will be given by client. So once again what will happen, we are going to incorporate those changes in the same document, but we are going to change the version. So here the version will be like earlier the version was 1.0, and now what I have done, I have made certain changes and I changed the document name. In the sense, I just changed the version name itself, v 1.0. So whichever changes were suggested by client, what we have done, whichever changes were suggested by your core team member, we have incorporated those changes, and then once again we have forwarded this to the client that kindly go through this blueprint and give your confirmation that you are okay with all the processes which we have specified here. Okay, so once again what is happening, once again client gone through this one also, and then still they found certain mistake, and they says like no, this one is also not acceptable. Okay, still few mistakes are there, you kindly rectify these things. Again they are going to specify certain things. Okay, this accounting entry is wrong, kindly rectify this entry. For this process generally this GL supposed to be credited and that GL supposed to be debited. Likewise certain things they are going to specify. Again this line supposed not to be there, remove this line. If you want to add, then you have to add this line. So likewise once again they are going to give certain instructions, and so they'll specify all those things on mail itself. So once again we are going to incorporate those changes also. Okay, so I'll tell you guys why this implementation is going to take huge and huge time. Because of this itself, lots of discussion will take place, and most likely the client will be disagree with lots of things. So which is why it takes several time, isn't it? So now here, now we have incorporated the changes suggested by client, and once again we have sent the document. Now I changed the version and it become 1.2. So this time your core team member found no mistake. No mistake in the sense this time he found like okay, everything has been specified correctly, and this much exactly I am looking, this much we are looking for. So they will say yes, it means that guy will say yes, now it is acceptable. Acceptable means if it is saying, if he says yes, it means it is approved. Okay, so see, without blueprint we cannot perform any activities. As I said, like building construction, there is also one blueprint required, isn't it? What should be the size of the room, what should be the size of kitchens, then your whatever hall is there, how many stories, are there, like 20 stories, 25. So for these all things, parking space and all those things, like for that one blueprint is prepared. Now based on that blueprint people will start the constructions, isn't it? So when we talk about SAP implementation, What exactly we are going to do in implementation, guys? We have to do certain configuration. We have to do certain configuration. But configuration based on what? What we are going to configure? So configuration based on blueprint. First of all, we need to have certain requirement, then only we are going to do the configuration, or else just like a blind configurations, like without blueprint, it's like a blind configuration itself, right? So that's what we are going to have a discussion with the client. We'll prepare a blueprint, and then once it is approved by blueprint, once it is approved by client, then only we can proceed further and we can start our configuration activities. So see here, even in blueprint approval also, it has taken too much time. Twice client says no, and then at last client says yes. It means it is approved. So now here I'll just tell you guys recently one question related to like this, why I added these all things, because this question was asked by Infosys people recently, that which version of blueprint we sent to the client for sign off. Now here what is happening, guys, whenever this blueprint approved by client, then what will happen, immediately we are going to take the printout of this blueprint, and then we'll produce before client, and we'll say that now you need to give your sign off, in the sense signature. So the project manager from client side is going to give his signature, the core team member from client side is going to give his signature, the senior and junior consultant from Weber technology side will also put their signature, and the project manager of uh, you know uh, from Weber technology also is going to put the signature. So 4 5 people will be giving their signature. Why these signatures are required? So that in future they cannot turn back that no, I didn't say these things, I said those things, like that. Okay, so everything, that's what we are, in order to keep ourselves when safer side, we are going to prepare this document, and we'll take the sign off also. So once we get the sign, once we get the signature, once everybody put the signatures and all, it means the requirement got freeze. The requirement is freezed, in the sense now no more further requirement can be acceptable. Why? Because we are having further deadline, isn't it? So if you keep on receiving new requirement, then what will happen, we won't be able to meet the deadline. Okay, so theoretical in the sense, theoretical things are like, we cannot accept the requirement once the sign off is done, in the sense once the requirement got freezed, once we got the sign off from client side, then the new requirement cannot be acceptable. But as we know, rules are made to breach. Rules are made to breach. In Hindi it is called rules तोड़ने के लिए बना है. Rules are made to breach. So what will happen in real time also, it happens even like in middle also, if the client got some new ideas and all, once again they will be having discussion with the project manager of this Wipro technology and all, and they will say that array yaar, you just insert this one also in blueprint, we are going to increase the deadline. If it is of like 8 months, we are going to make it 8.5 months or 9 months, and we are going to increase the amount also, isn't it? So see, ultimately for every activities, the revenue is the most important things. So if the amount is going to be increased, people are going to accept all those things, isn't it? So once again, the previous blueprint is going to be in dustbin, and we'll add one more thing, and a new blueprint will be prepared. It's a matter of hardly half an hour itself, or 20 minutes, because we have to add only few text. So we'll be prepared a new blueprint, and once again this new sign off will be taking place within 1 hour, 1.5 hour, or 2 hour, or 3 hour. It is going to be completed, and new blueprint will be ready. And it means we recorded, we noted down one more requirement. So generally this is the, it's informal. In formal way, generally it is informal. If you talk about formal way, then formal way means we have to prepare this blueprint, and then once it is finalized by client, we need to take sign off, signature, and once we have taken signature, it means requirement got freeze, we cannot accept the new requirement. Okay, this is the rules which is given by SAP. So now here, as I said, like here the version 1.2, the last version 1.2 got approved by client. So what will happen, we are going to take printout of this version, and then we have to proceed before we have to what to say, produce before client for sign off. This last version printout we have to take, and then we have to submit to the client that you just give your sign off, and we are also giving our sign off signature. So this was the question from Infosys people. They asked like which version of blueprint we send to the client for sign off. So guys, what would be your answer? You can type through chat box also. Type one by one. What is your answer, guys? Okay, so I got one reply from Sudhakar. It's 1.2. Then Amit is saying the final one. Sai is saying like last version. Asok is also last version. Malikarjun 1.2. Mohit 1.2. Okay, guys. So I'll tell you. Gautam last version. Okay. So see, I'll tell you. Those who says like last version or final version, it is correct answer, because 1.2 we cannot say 1.2. Why? Because let's suppose there might be a chances this is also not approved. Client says this is not approved. Then what will happen? We have to prepare one more version, that is 1.3, and then client say yes, isn't it? So it will be always, I'll tell you what you have to reply and what you're supposed to reply. Now here, whichever this blueprint got prepared, okay, this blueprint got prepared. Now here, look at here. Uh, okay, so this blueprint is called whatever the first version which was not approved, that is called draft version. This is the draft version. Whichever version was not approved by client, these all are called draft version. And whichever the version which is approved by client, whichever the version approved by client, that is called final version. So guys, always you have to say, when somebody asks like which version of blueprint generally we are sending to the client for sign up purpose, so you have to say final version. Okay, this final version could be anything, 1.3, 1.4 and 1.5, whichever version is approved by client, that is called final version. So you have to say like this. And apart from this, there was one more question, guys. What is the difference between greenfield implementation and brownfield implementation? Last time generally I covered the types of project. In that, like I said, implementation project, rollout project, and what to say, support project and upgrade project. But if you talk about implementation project, that is going to be segregated in two parts: greenfield implementation and brownfield implementation. So now what is the difference between these two? That is already I have added in my interview question. I've recorded several interview questions, as I already discussed with you guys, that I have already recorded this interview questions, what people are going to ask and what you have to reply. So in that I have added these questions, and I think if this is a very unique questions which I have seen like first time people are going to ask at entry level people, but still the answer is also pretty simple. So this is I've already included in interview questions, and the way I'm going to explain, you have to also explain in that way itself. So here guys, it's not that like as I said earlier also, that selection is not much important in the sense like getting placement is not important, not much important. Survival is the most important things. At any cost you guys are going to get placement, because I have already prepared all the questions. I will hand it over, but here instead of mugging up those questions and answers, what you guys has to do, you have to you have to learn all these concepts, whatever things I'm going to teach you guys. Just concentrate on these all things, and then once you are able to understand all these processes, all this things which I'm going to teach, so that is going to help you to survive after getting placement, whether you study or not. Placement will be there if you mug up the questions, but I never encourage my student to mug up those all questions and answers. You can look at the questions and try to answer yourself. So question and answer will be shared later at the end of this batch. But before that, we are having lots of things which you guys need to learn. And once you learn these things, once you're having like perfect understanding, then everything is going to be very easy. Even getting placement also will be easy, and survival also will be easy. If you guys are not going to pay more and more attention, then getting placement will be easy, because as I said, like I'm going to share you an interview question and answer also, but survival will not be easy, isn't it? So here, this getting placement will be easy, but survival will not be easy. That's what I'm saying, that concentrate, because the way I'm going to explain, I'm using very simple language, very simple words, and I'm trying to narrate certain kind of scenario I'm going to give you guys, which is also very simple. Even during my explanations, when once I start the configuration classes, there also I'll give you guys small scenarios with some interesting stories and all, so that it will be easy for you guys to understand, because you all are new. Of course, few of you have already taken training from somewhere, some institutions and all, but I treat everybody as a zero itself, because whatever you have learned is just a basic. So with the help of basic, it is impossible to get a placements. So that's what. Just concentrate on the things which I am going to cover. And as I said earlier also, that your objective is to get a placement. So just concentrate on the things which I am going to teach. And if you have any query, you can ask me the questions even during the session. And after that also, if you're having any query, you can WhatsApp me. Whenever I'm free, I'll call you guys and I'll let you know. I'll resolve this query, or else even in next session also, I'll add this question and I'll explain, and those recording also will be happening. So guys, today's only this much. We have covered only 2 phases, remaining 3 phases are there, that will be covered in the next session. What exactly we are going to do in the next phase, that will be covered in the next session. So till today we have done like project 2 phases. The first one is project preparation, and second one is business blueprint. So project preparation means 3 activity, already I have said, I have explained 3 activity like team size and team member, then certain planning will be there for this project, and finally one internal meeting will be taking place, that is called kickoff meeting. And once the kickoff meeting is done, then we entered in the second phase, where we have to prepare certain documentations. Certain documentations we are going to prepare, and the major document is blueprint document, for which we have to take the sign off also from the client. And the blueprint consists of all the deliverables, whichever things we are going to deliver, or whichever things we plan to deliver to the client, those things are going to be included in blueprint. And whichever non-deliverable things are there, that is also going to be included in blueprint itself, under subheading called gap. Okay, people will ask questions from gap also. What they'll ask, what you have to reply, that is already recorded. I have recorded during interview question and answer. I've recorded this. I've given a perfect explanation for that. Okay, so don't worry about these all things. I'll tell you, out of 100, might be 1 or 2 people are there who will be able to explain this gap. So there are lots of things which I have added in my interview question and answer, which is going to make you unique. And even during my classes also, whether it is theoretical or practical, whichever sessions are there, in that I have added lots of topics which is going to make you unique compared to other people, so that you will be separated, you will be separate, you will be a kind of unique among all the crowd. So that's all guys, we'll close this session here itself.